Okay, my name is Oscar DeLeon. I lived in Farmersville roughly from 1960 until I went to the military in 1970. My background is I was a news cameraman in Fresno, California, for over 30 years in the news. Uh, when I started back in 1974, 75, it was a real rough time in TV news and television in general. Not like it is now. Back then, it was only 4 TV channels. Can you imagine 4? And that's all you had. So I got to work at. I started working at Channel 26 in Visalia for a few months, and then I was recruited to Fresno under the affirmative action program. And I'm sure you might have heard about the affirmative action. They needed to bring and hire blacks, women, and Chicanos, and I was under that program. Of course, I sort of knew that, but not really. I thought it doesn't matter. I'm going to work as hard as I can to prove myself, and that's what it was. And I did over and over prove myself because I wanted to do that particular job and working basically in TV news. And after I got basically to master that occupation, then I would do a lot of side works, side jobs, and did a music video and stuff. We would, basically be creative doing cameras, not just strict news. I mean, as it is news, what news is now is not what the news was back then. Articles here on the Fresno Bee on me and my brothers, and they loved us. The media loved us, and I should say the Fresno Bee reporter loved my story about being a farm worker, that I came out of the fields, came out of a small town named Farmersville. Either way, it's a great article. If you'll have to read it. In fact, the first line reads, Oscar de Leon looks like a TV news anchor, gray hair, well groomed. So they already said I should have been one. Now, should have, would, no, I never. But to tell my story, yes, I want to tell my story. I need to tell my story. So one day, we got news that Cesar Chavez had passed. And I thought to myself, oh. Now, I had followed Cesar Chavez from high school, day one. Go to school, get out of the fields, make yourself better, be proud, help your people, advance. And I thought, wait a minute, I have to be there. I have to go there. And I told my bosses, listen, you need to let me go with or without a reporter. I don't care how, but we need to be in Bakersfield. So I had to convince my boss and the general manager who runs the station. And I told my boss, I said, listen, for a minute there, just pretend you're black. Doesn't matter. Pretend. Martin Luther King just died and he lives in Bakersfield. What are you going to do? Are you going to sit here and travel every day, or are you going to go over there and sit and wait for the information to come out? So they said, okay, go. So I went without knowing one person. Thursday night, overnight case, my camera, and I knocked on the door and I said, I'm here. Here's my credentials. I want to help document the funeral. A few minutes later, they said, come on in. So I thought, oh boy. So I'm walking in, it's night, kind of dark. As I'm walking to where I'm going to stay, they said, oh, do you want to see him? And I said, well, he's here? And he goes, yeah, sure. So went up the stairs and there he sat without the casket and flowers and 2 guards and the banners. And it's just like, oh my goodness, what have I, not what have I done, but what am I, experiencing? What am I looking at, So in the morning, they teamed me up with the other photographer, the reporter that it was part of their crew. So from then on, from that Thursday, we worked 16, 17 hours until Monday after they buried him. And I helped bury him into the ground. My last few shots are, he's being buried and I'm looking and they look at me and he goes, you want to do it? I said, sure. Put my camera down and I'm in there burying Cesar Chavez. So to this time, I tell you that in history, hopefully that'll tell my story. I'm a guy.